The blessed Damozel leaned out from the gold bar of heaven. Her blue grave eyes were deeper much than a deep water even. She had 3 lilies in her hand, and the stars in her hair were 7. Her robe, ungirt from clasp to hem, no wrought flowers did adorn, but a white rose of Mary's gift on the neck meetly worn, and her hair, lying down her back, was yellow like ripe corn. Herseem'd she scarce had been a day one of God's choristers. The wonder was not yet quite gone from that still look of hers, albeit to them she left her day had counted as 10 years. To one it is 10 years of years, yet now here in this place, surely she leaned o'er me, her hair fell all about my face, nothing the autumn fall of leaves the whole year sets apace. It was the terrace of God's house that she was standing on, by God built o'er the sheer depth in which space is begun, so high that looking downward thence she could scarce see the sun. It lies from heaven across the flood of ether as a bridge, beneath the tides of day and night with flame and blackness ridge, the void as low as where this earth spins like a fretful midge. But in those tracks with her it was the peace of utter light, and silence, for no breeze may stir along the steady flight of seraphim, no echo there beyond all depth or height. Heard hardly some of her new friends playing at holy games, spake gentle mouth amongst themselves their virginal chaste names, and the souls mounting up to God went by her like thin flames. And still she bowed herself and stooped into the vast waste calm, till her bosom's pressure must have made the bar she leaned on warm, and the lilies lay as if asleep along her bended arm. From the fixed lull of heaven she saw time like a pulse shake fierce through all the worlds. Her gaze still strove in that steep gulf to pierce the swarm, and then she spake as when the stars sang in their spheres. I wish that he were come to me, for he will come, she said. Have I not prayed in solemn heaven on earth? Has he not prayed? Are not 2 prayers a perfect strength, and shall I feel afraid? When round his head the aureole clings, and he is clothed in white, I'll take his hand and go with him to the deep wells of light, and we will step down as to a stream and bathe there in God's sight. We 2 will stand beside that shrine, occult, withheld, untrod, whose lamps tremble continually with prayer sent up to God, and where each need revealed expects its patient period. We 2 will lie in the shadow of that living mystic tree, within whose secret grove the dove sometimes is felt to be, while every leaf that his plumes touch saith his name audibly. And I myself will teach to him, I myself lying so, the songs I sing here which his mouth shall pause in hushed and low, finding some knowledge at each pause and something new to know. Alas, to her wise, simple mind these things were all but known. Before they trembled on her sense, her voice had caught their tone. Alas for lonely heaven, alas for life rung out alone. Alas, and though the end were reached, was thy part understood, or born in trust, and for her sake shall this too be found good? May the closed lips that knew not prayer praise ever, though they would. We 2, she said, will seek the groves where the Lady Mary is, with her 5 handmaidens, whose names are 5 sweet symphonies, Cecily, Gertrude, Magdalene, Margaret, and Rosalies. Circle-wise sit they with bound locks and bosoms covered, into the fine cloth white like flame, weaving the golden thread, to fashion the birth robes for them who are just born, being dead. He shall fear haply and be dumb, then I will lay my cheek to his and tell about our love, not once abashed or weak, and the dear mother will approve my pride and let me speak. Herself shall bring us hand in hand to him round whom all souls kneel, the unnumbered solemn heads bowed with their aureoles, and angels meeting us shall sing to their cithens and citoles. There will I ask of Christ the Lord, thus much for him and me, to have more blessing than on earth, in no wise but to be as then we were, being as then at peace, yea, verily. Yea, verily, when he is come, we will do thus and thus, till this my vigil seem quite strange and almost fabulous. We two will live at once one life, and peace shall be with us." She gazed and listened, and then said, less sad of speech than mild, "All this is when he comes." She ceased. The light thrilled past her, filled with angels in strong level laps. Her eyes prayed, and she smiled. I saw her smile, but soon their flight was vague mid the poised spheres. And then she cast her arms along the golden barriers, and laid her face between her hands and wept. I heard her tears.